I'm very happy to be here to talk to you about the Southern African Resilience Academy. Some of you may know of it or have heard some whisperings. I'm here to answer your questions. And so firstly, what is the Southern African Resilience Academy? It is an initiative that is part of what we call South-to-South Resilience Academies. It's an idea about creating a series of hubs for transdisciplinary collaborations that really aim to amplify, leverage, and coordinate leadership from the Global South. And the Southern African Resilience Academy is the flagship academy of these South-to-South initiatives. It's the first one that got up and running and working well, and it aims to act as a convening and support space for both inter and transdisciplinary researchers and practitioners especially, working across Southern Africa on these really pressing resilience and development challenges that we've been hearing about throughout the week. So the Academy's goals are to strengthen our existing networks and really work to kind of get people together and leverage the expertise that does exist already in Southern Africa to expand collaboration and, most importantly, facilitate the co-production of policy and practice relevant knowledge and really provide the thought leadership that we know the Global South can provide. So the first phase, which ran from 2022 to the end of 2023, has just kind of wrapped up. And so I'll be presenting a little bit about the results of that, but then also sharing about some exciting, the next phase. So who we are and how this partnership, this academy actually came about. It formed as a partnership between the Global Resilience Partnership, which works to advance climate resilience by identifying and scaling locally led innovations, by sharing and generating knowledge. That's where the SARA fits in, and shaping resilience policy and investments, as well as the CST, where I'm based, with many others. So I just wanted to also highlight the really great team that's behind this work. I want to especially highlight Dr. Micah Hamman, who led the first round. I'm only taking over now, as well as Sabrina Chesman-Troutman, who is our comms strategic advisor. And you will hear a little bit later why she is so important in this process. And then, of course, providing the leadership is Unsi and Alta. I also just want to take a step back and ask, why is it so important to have a Southern-based transdisciplinary learning network? And I think we can all really testify to this first point, that there is this need for a more systemic shift in knowledge leadership, who is producing the knowledge, and how it is actually entering policy spaces, due to the really very present historical inequities in terms of who is in the literature, who is being cited, as we heard just now, and in terms of policy influence. And of course, those living closest to the challenges are best placed to define them and to address them. And so these South-to-South academies are really trying to foster this mobilization of thought leadership and collaborations to achieve these goals. So how do we do this? We use a working group model. So some of you might be familiar, for example, with the SESINC model. It's similar to that. What we are aiming to do is form a group of 8 to 10 working groups with 5 to 8 members in them each. And then we run a series of both in-person events, but also online engagement for 3 years. And there's the real strength of this approach is we're focusing on synthesis. How can we bring diverse perspectives together and actually create a bit of a shared idea and moving the field forward in terms of synthesizing knowledge? So we really rely on research, practice, and policy to create this new knowledge. And so it's really important that SARA is composed of academics, but also researchers, policymakers, a really diverse of career stages and institutions and geographies. SARA has a bit of a different way of approaching some of how we are trying to get the knowledge across and out there. So yes, each working group produces an academic article, but we have a strategic communications advisor, Sabrina, who helps us draft each group to draft an engagement process. So each group will very carefully define how do we actually want to make the biggest impact from our knowledge to strategically influence both policy, implementation, practice. And so those are the outputs from each group, but what we are really aiming for again is these enhanced connections, providing leadership, and also providing accessible knowledge that can be accessed in different ways by different audiences, as well as providing meaningful policy input. So this was the first round that some of you here participated in. It was all about building equitable resilience. We had 8 working groups on this topic, and those are the different ones. You'll actually be hearing from the Conservation Systems Lead, Alta, just after this, so you'll actually be able to see some of the academic and policy work of a specific group. And Unsi actually presented some of the work from the food systems seeds on the first day. So you've already seen some of this exciting work. And yes, some happy people getting together and gathering in a beautiful space to connect. And it was, for me, a very transformational experience to be part of. But in terms of the outputs from this first round, what we saw was that we had a special issue. It's going to be coming out in Ecology and Society, aiming to address some of these more broad resilience, equitable resilience questions, such as if we're enhancing resilience, do we potentially undermine equity, and vice versa? These are some examples of the strategic engagement products and processes or non-academic products that we produced. So for example, this is a cartoon of Matinda who moves through a Zambian food system and addresses all of the different challenges that she faces as she goes through her day. The next one is showing all of the different ways informality is present in our day-to-day lives and highlighting the diverse ways that people engage with informality, for example. But there's really wide ranges of very interesting processes as well. So this is an example from the monitoring and evaluation group who engaged with other monitors and evaluators to develop a process to understand how equity fits into monitoring and evaluation. But there were also other things, WhatsApp campaigns, funder dialogues, etc. So it was really exciting. And if you're interested in finding out more about equitable resilience and the amazing outputs, I have a QR code. But I also think it's important for us to reflect on the insights from this process. So we had some really interesting discussions about how we define what is in and out of our study systems actually has huge impacts on how we understand the system itself, and really grappling with the scales that we are looking at. How we think about equity and resilience as concepts is really important. Are they end goals, or are they, do we consider them actually as separate but parallel goals, or is equity absolutely necessary for us to have a resilient system? So these were all questions that we were grappling with as a group beyond our individual work in the different working groups. And I'm running out of time, but you can look at the special issue for more of these kind of high-level insights. But also I want to share some insights from SARA as a process. So I think, one of the real strengths of SARA was this deep engagement between academics and practitioners, and it was really funny at the end. We asked, academics, what was most impactful for you? And they were like, absolutely engaging in developing these funder briefs and different types of communication skills. And the practitioners were like, for us, it was the academic article. So there was like a lot of kind of different perspectives and different skills that were learned between different groups, I would say. And this comes back to expanding perspectives by having groups that work on quite different things, but around a central theme really helps you to get a broader perspective of a particular issue like equitable resilience. And also coming back to that what we heard this morning about the importance of both individual learning and learning as a group and how we do that. So you can see some quotes up here reflecting on that process. But as we all know, that these kind of processes are hard, transdisciplinarity and collaboration are hard. And so I just wanted to also reflect on some of the challenges we face. So for example, how do we deal with power dynamics and shifting responsibilities within groups? And so, the responses that I've set out here are some things we're thinking about for this next round. So do we have role-defining processes up front? Do we have skills clinics to help develop? How do people work as groups? I think, even having clearer mechanisms for addressing conflict and recognizing that even if we have a lot of shared ground, conflicts are still going to arise, and we need to be prepared for that and willing to deal with it. Also, people carving out time to do work that is not paid for. So obviously, SARA provides support. Please come and join us, come to the workshops. But especially for practitioners, they have to account for that time. So for us, we're really encouraging projects that contribute to people's existing deliverables as well. So you can say, yes, I've actually been through this process, but it is contributing to my existing project. And then it was so important for us to have an expert strategic communications advisor, because often finding an audience for your work needs real work. It needs real work. It really does, because it's not so obvious all the time. You could say, I want to do a policy brief, but what policy? Who's the audience? Are they even ready to receive that message? And so each group has to go through a process of understanding and developing these skills and refining their ideas. And also bringing it back to this morning's messages about how do we know that some transformational learning has taken place. So I've also been thinking about how do we monitor SARA's outputs, how do we monitor SARA as a process internally as well as our external products, and really investigating what are the skills and the learning interests and needs of different groups within SARA and of different individuals. I just also want to do a little plug for our new call, which is focused on transformative pathways. We have the call for working groups open until the 31st of October. I think it's a really, really great space for both practitioners and academics to come together to work on your favorite questions, grapple with some of these concepts we've been hearing about this week. And I won't go into pathways too much, but I think the importance for us of recognizing that it can't just be pathways based on our business as usual actions, but transformative orientated pathways. But you are welcome to work on any topic like urban, conservation, food, whatever speaks to you. And so please apply, and we do have a collaborative board going, which you can come up to me to find out more about. But this is the QR code to kind of get more information on the call. And yes, we look forward to receiving your applications. Thank you.